Hey friends, Chris here with the Roots Ranch, and this video today is all about removing blackberries from the garden. Now, I want to start this off that if you're not in the Pacific Northwest, I understand that when I talk about blackberries being a nuisance in the garden, that might sound really insane to you. But if you are in the Pacific Northwest, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And so this video is for you if you have blackberries overrunning your garden. Now, blackberries is something that I've also struggled with, and I'm currently working on eradicating from the garden, especially in the area that I formed into garden beds just last year. So one thing I want to talk about is that there's technically two different types of blackberries. Well, technically there's three. There's the native trailing blackberry, which is the easier blackberry by far and large. And then the other two are the Himalayan. I can't do my fingers. The Himalayan, developed by Luther Burbank as a blackberry built to withstand everything in the world and be prolific, and let's just say he understood the assignment. And then the third one is the evergreen blackberry, which those two are, for all intents and purposes, exactly the same and handled exactly the same. So I'm going to count those two together, and then the native one. The only difference between the two is that I know of, there's a little bit of like structure of the stem, and the leaves the evergreen has more jagged leaves. But that's not the main concern. The main concern is they're taking over the garden, and well, that's true. So I wanted to show you what's really important. I guess this video, how I'm going to do is I'll show you the two different types of blackberries, what they look like undisturbed, and I'll show you what they look like when you pull them out. And the difference, the whole reason for me making this video, hi boys, turkeys. The whole reason for me making this videos is because I think a lot of folks just pull out or mow the blackberries. And don't get me wrong, that's definitely an effective way, especially if you have a little bit, or even if you have a large area. If you mow it enough and you are absolutely consistent with it, at some point it will burn through the plant's stored carbohydrates and stuff like that. But if you're wanting to garden in that area, like I am, and you're just pulling them, but not getting the crown, which I'll get to, but not getting the crown, if you're persistent, you will still get it, but there's an easier, well, a little bit more labor intensive, but easier in the long run. So I wanted to show you, when you're looking at blackberries, if you're wondering so my farm has all three, the evergreen, the Himalayan, and the native trailing blackberry. So I'm very lucky. The way that I tell it which is which, at least with the one versus the two, is if it sticks out. Now I know that doesn't make any sense, but the native blackberry, if you were to think of a delicate plant, the native blackberry is gentle and kind, where the other one is very unforgiving and mean. The native blackberry, also the blackberries are better if you do keep the plants. It kind of comes out, smaller stem, trails along, hence the word trailing. It'll reroot along its like vines or whatever, but it's a lot easier to pull out. And they don't develop extensive crowns or anything like that. And so I actually don't mind those blackberries. And so let me give you an example of that. Let's see here. So here is a perfect example. Let me see where the camera's pointed. Actually, let me flip the camera around just 1 second. Okay, so what do I mean by growing flat or growing up? Right here is a perfect example. If you notice, if we pan up, see these little blackberries down here, how they're kind of flat? And if I were to just pull like this one, for instance, it's fairly delicate and small or whatever. So that would be a native one. But you see this one here, how it grows up and keeps going and keeps going, and it goes over to there, but I've already cut it and have cuts on my hands. But that's kind of how you would tell the difference. We'll see where this is the vining one, and it's fairly gentle. Oops. Fairly small. It's not too hard on the hands. With these ones, these spikes are pretty substantial and they hurt even with gloves, which is why I usually cut them and then try and dig down and get them down here where the spikes aren't so bad. But the spikes start happening as you go up and stuff like that. But see, this trailing blackberry that we were just looking at, remember I told you how it reattaches in different places? So it looks like right here is where it's reattached. And so you can see here, and that was really easy to pull out. But see, here it'll attach, and then it's sending up another new little plant here. And if I work back, this plant actually comes out. Of course, it's in a grouping of other ones. I should have my gloves on. But it actually comes out right here. So let me pull that one. Ugh. So I didn't get all of it. You can see that there's no root hairs. I did get some of them, but not all of them. But so if I pull this out, you'll see that it's a long, my camera's not focusing. It's a long thing, and at the very end are those roots that we had pulled. So that's the trailing. Now for this monster here, those are generally the problems. The trailing blackberry, like I said, I pulled that one out without even wearing gloves. They do have little spikes. I don't know if you could see those, and they hurt a little bit, but I think my hands are just made for it. But so those ones aren't too bad. Now let me flip you around and I'll show you what the crowns look like and how to get them out. So just one moment. Okay, so these are ones that I've already pulled out. And so these are big. And so I guess I'll show you this one because this one's larger and should be easier to see. I don't know if it's probably easier to show it off. But I try to get as much root as I can. Obviously right here had broke off. But you can see all these little roots. But the soil line was about right here. So if you put all this stuff down, that's kind of all that was showing. But if you just clip it there, see there's all these little ones. Let me see. All these little ones like this right here would be a plant. And there's other ones. Let's see if I can find more. I think I might have broken them all off. But basically, when you're dealing with these Himalayan or evergreen blackberries, the big ones, the thing is that especially if you don't have, I mean, if you've got an entire, like your yard is covering in them, you're in a different ball game. That's just the way that is. But if you have like a smaller garden or an area that you want to turn into a garden and it's got some here or there or whatever size feels manageable to you, the best thing you can do is dig these out. I promise you, you can do the snip thing and just keep snipping them over and over and over all summer and perhaps into the next year, depending. And that will work, absolutely. But if you want to set yourself up for the most success, I definitely, in my experience, I recommend getting out this crown. And so the tool that I use, it's covered in my dirt, but I use this thing. Now, any shovel I think will work. I like this long one. It seems to be really sturdy. I break so many shovels a year. So I also only get shovels from estate sales. So I don't know if they come bad or what, but this shovel has been with me for forever. And I try to do no dig and stuff like that, but I only have to disturb a small area to get one of these crowns. So let's see, I'm gonna bring you over, you know that one tall one sticking out that I was just showing you? I'm gonna dig that up and show you exactly how I do it. The angle's probably gonna be terrible because I just rely on like mounting my phone in random places, but it'll give you a really good idea of what I'm talking about. So just one moment. Also, it started raining. Yay! Okay, so remember, these were all of the trailing blackberry, and here's what they look like when they're tiny little babies. They're really small, and these ones you can really dig down and stuff like that, but it's not as important. Their root systems are not developed to survive the apocalypse. However, it feels weird not being able, no. Oh, there's my double chin. But their root systems are not built to withstand the apocalypse. But with these tall ones, they are. You do want to have gloves usually, especially if you're not used to like dealing with them. But so here's what I do. I take my trusted long skinny shovel. I'm sure there's a name for it. I don't know it. And so I'm going to put it kind of close to the base of the plant, just straight up and down, and try and put it in. So right there, I barely put any pressure. You can see the plant moving. I can't go in anymore. And so that means there must be a bigger root right there. So I'm going to go just to the side and see if I can't get in a little more. See right there, I went in a lot more. And so I'm going to try and pry that and open it up a little bit. It's pretty deep, so I'll have to try a couple different areas. And I can hear it breaking a little bit. Let's try another area. Jump to the other side. Hi, turkey boys. Okay, it looks like we're getting somewhere. So if I were to grab this, here were all these roots. I don't know if you can see these. Here, I'll bring them over. I don't know if you can see them, but those were the ones that the shovel wouldn't go through. So I had to go through. Let's see, and it looks like it's getting hung up on something on the other side. Nah. Let's see. Okay. Must have severed one of them. Okay. And then the first thing you want to do is try and save all of your soil. So I try and shake the clod out. Here's an example. Actually, this is perfect. I don't know if you can see it against. There we go. Ah. So this is an example of the natural trailing one, or the native, I'm sorry. And you can see there isn't really a crown. Oh, my hand's dirty. Maybe that tiny little thing, but it's not a big mass of energy that's stored to get this plant to go really far. And so that one was easy to pull out. Just pulled it with my bare hands. I'm sure the shovel loosened it. Throw that in the wheelbarrow. But this bad boy here, see, he's nasty. And so what I wanted to do was to get off of the dirt so you could see the crown. Which it comes off okay-ish easy. Let's see here. And this is a pretty big one, so I'm glad. Ow. It's stuck. Let's see. It's stuck on my hat. Oh man, okay. All right. I was able to free myself. So, I don't know if you can see. Oh, there's a little worm. Come here, buddy. Come here, buddy. Come here. Come here. Okay, well, you're going for a ride then. Oh, wait, are you coming out? Okay, there's a little worm. But if you see, let me try and turn the camera so you can see it against my jacket. You see how massive that is? It's almost as big as my big head. And see how extensive that is? That's a lot of, now it's stuck on my thing. Okay, I'm obviously, hold on. I hope you're being entertained. Okay, let me, see, I've got it like wrapped on me. Okay. But you can see here how massive that was from just those few little stems. And sometimes when you get these, they can be really, really huge. But this is a big crown with a lot of roots and the big big crown in the middle that stores all the energy and stuff. So this guy is bad. This is what I want to get rid of. Now I'm gonna set it aside because I have to save that little worm, because I'll give this root ball to the chickens. And that little worm, he's not gonna like being in the chicken coop. So I'm gonna set this aside. But I wanna show you, and I hope it works how I hope it works, because I'm filming and it never works how I hope it'll work when I'm filming. But I'll show you the next step to do with that. So I'm gonna set that aside so Mr. Worm can come out. And then, let me see here. The next thing to do, well, this one doesn't seem to have it really. Oh, here's a little bit, no, that's a dandelion. Put that in the wheelbarrow. Oh, here we go. So then what you wanna do is, I was just digging around a little bit in the hole that I had dug. Let me pick this up and show you. Sorry, it fell. So there's that big hole there. And so this is a root that I pulled out that might have been broken off with the shovel. I'm throwing it in the wheelbarrow. Hi, boys. But basically, see, here's another one right here. You see how I just pulled that? And that's a different blackberry. So I'll set that aside. And I'm just gonna kind of lightly, here's another one right there. I hope the camera's on it because I can't see. It's facing the other way. Let's see. But I'm basically just gonna pull it around and see if I see any really huge roots. And if I do, I wanna grab those. And I didn't see what I was looking for in that particular patch, but I'll show you what I was looking for in another patch. So I'd already pulled this one, but you see this? This is a brand new, fresh, let me see here. This is a fresh root. And I know because you see all of those, don't mind my hands, you see all those little nodules? Well, a lot of them are broken off, but where they've got, let me see, little tips or whatever, like right there, those are all little plants lying in wait. Trying to get the best view of that one right there. Well, I just got it dirty. It's the right there. I don't know if they're coming through on camera, but basically all of these little things are just waiting to be plants, and ruin your garden. So you want to make sure you get those out too. So anyways, I just wanted to send a quick video. Oops, I step back for a second. I just wanted to make a quick video on blackberries because I was working on it and I was like, I should share this. If you're working on an area, there's several ways to take care of blackberries. Of course, there's like goats, there's herbicides or whatever. There's mowing it continuously. But for me, I like to take a smaller approach. Plus, I already have these beds made. I should have probably let them sit longer, but you know me, I just go right into things. So I'm like, I'll just figure it out and weed it more as I go. So this row got away from me last year, which set me back. But that's okay, because you know, now I'm getting to it and I'll stay on top of it, and so that'll be amazing. But anyway, so just to recap, 2 types of blackberries. The small, skinny ones, not as prickly, grow along the ground, and you may not have them. A lot of times I don't see them in a lot of people's yards. I do have the native blackberries. They're easy to pull. They're kind of cute. Their berries taste the best, by the way. And they're really easy. But when you get these big monster crowns, it's worth it, honestly. Just dig it out with a shovel, and then that way you don't have to deal with it and go through wasting of the energy reserves and stuff like that. But I hope this video was helpful. If it was, let me know. You could do a like or whatever. That supports me. Thank you. And if not, then I'm sorry. But anyways, happy weeding, happy garden prep, and happy gardening. Bye.